We are happy to be joined again on our show by Dr. Jaris Swidrovich. Jaris is the first self-identified First Nations doctor of pharmacy and faculty member in pharmacy in Canada. And Jaris, we spoke to you a little bit before about some of the things you were involved with. I want to talk about this Canadian Pain Task Force that you are a member of. Tell me a little bit about how that came about and what the purpose of the task force is.
You bet. So the Canadian Federal Minister of Health announced just a couple weeks ago now the creation of a national pain task force. 8 members have been assigned, 3 of whom are patients with lived experience living with chronic pain. And then the other 5 are a variety of folks, and I am one of those folks. So, of course, I'm a pharmacist. In some ways, I represent many folks within the Indigenous community, and I also my younger sister has been living with pain for the last few years, so her experiences are sitting with me when I'm at those tables and at those meetings also. I'm not sure how I was identified to be part of the task force. I've still been asking that question to them, but I'm really looking forward to that work ongoing. We also have an external advisory panel of about 15 members from across the country that also includes people with lived experience, a variety of healthcare practitioners, and otherwise.
And what is the goal in the end of this task force, Jaris?
The goal in the end of this task force is to ultimately really develop a strategy for pain management across Canada, maybe summarizing some of the promising practices. Often folks refer to these as best practices, but there's some politics along with that term best practices. So perhaps promising practices and strategies that should exist across Canada. The healthcare of First Nations and Inuit folks, as well as RCMP military and veterans, is a federal initiative. So there's some unique considerations around these populations when it comes to this Canadian Pain Task Force, because otherwise healthcare is managed provincially for provincial residents. Hence, perhaps my participation on this task force too, just to think about what access looks like for First Nations, Métis, Inuit people when it comes to pain management.
And another exciting thing, Jaris, that you have been, are you going to be attending, the United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues in New York City. Now, I see it's quite an extended session. How many days are you actually going to be at this session?
I will be there for 6 days, mostly financial related. It's pretty pricey to stay in New York City for an extended period of time. But I will be there at the forum. There is a whole list of topics on the agenda, and it's hard to know which topics will be covered which day because it ultimately depends on what was captured in the days prior. So I'm looking forward to participating in the discussions for whatever topics come to be while I'm there. And if the opportunity arises, I look forward to speaking up and addressing the House.
Okay, and one last thing here, Jaris, before we run out of time. On top of all of this, you've somehow found time to run as an NDP candidate in Saskatoon. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I put my name forward for the nomination for Saskatoon Centre as an NDP candidate. The nomination meeting date has not been set, probably in November this coming year, with the provincial election to come in October 2020. So I am passionate about social justice, creating and effecting change. And for me, in this area of politics, I think that would be a wonderful platform to do so. Perhaps in the years down the road, whenever and if ever we see a provincial NDP government, the opportunity might be there to be a cabinet minister of something like health, education, advanced education, or social services, all of which have direct impacts on my family previously and currently, and also things that I'm quite passionate about.
Well, Jaris, I want to thank you for joining us, and I wish you the best. I know you're going to be successful in all that you do. If anybody's interested in contacting you, just in regards to either the NDP nomination or just talking about the petition, what's the best way to reach you, Jaris?
Quite honestly, you can Google. Google it's Jaris, like Paris, Jaris. You'll find my email out there. I'm currently an assistant professor at the College of Pharmacy and Nutrition at the U of S, so that email is there. I'm also on all the social media platforms and happy to respond to people in that way too.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for taking the time to speak with us, Jaris, and we wish you much luck in the future. I know we definitely have not heard the last from you, so thank you once again.
Thank you very much.